Salutations, Facebook. It's me again. Um, I am working on this one because I was trying to upload one of my old poems from my old MySpace page. I bless God for it being there because for some reason I could not locate it on any of my books. So that would mean it would have been published in May. So I bless God for being able to find that out. But I woke up from a dream, and the dream seemed so real. And I believe that there was a message in that dream. And February the 5th, 1999, I was robbed and raped at gunpoint with my sons. I was living in the apartments in Memphis, and it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I was coming home from my mother's house in Crystals, and the man followed me from the gas station at the corner by my house. And I had that feeling that something was about to happen because my mother was feeling some kind of way and my brother. But I knew that somebody was following me. But he pulled into the apartments behind me. He had no lights on. And he backed up into a parking spot as if he was getting ready to go home. And so I thought that everything was okay. And I backed up into a parking spot beside a van. And he came up behind me. And that's when I experienced rape, and never thought that I would experience it in that capacity, to be outside my house, my apartment, with my son in the middle of the street, me not being able to get to him, and no one was there to help me. So when I went through the counseling process, one of the steps we went through was writing the rapist to address the issues and our emotions and how we felt. And in that, I began to write a poem to express how I felt. And so I wanted to share that with you so we can stop the silence on rape and molestation. And in that incident, it was very hurtful because my family and friends second guessed if I was telling the truth. Some people blamed it on what I was wearing. And just like I have on a black turtleneck now, I had on one then, and some jeans, and they were baggy at the time. And he ripped those off like they were a piece of paper. So, regardless of what people said, it didn't change the fact that it happened to me, and I had to deal with that. And so, in order for the healing process to begin, I had to forgive him. So, in trying to forgive him, this is what I wrote, and I pray it blesses somebody. Pay close attention. It's very graphic because at that time I wrote it to be graphic because I said the words that he said to me because he was filling me up with guilt, hurt, and shame as he called me out of my name. So I pray that it blesses you, and I hope that you can hear it clearly. And please leave comments.
A thin line between love and hate, I wonder how God can possibly create an individual so unhappy, a person scarred and tortured mentally and physically by their pappy. Pappy, I call it immature and untamed man. One who steals, kills, and destroys with a gun at hand. He could be tall, dark, short, or maybe even with a tan. I'm speaking of a sick individual called the Walk With Me rapist, an ignorant black man. This particular man caught me and my boys by surprise. He ran up behind me in the blink of an eye. As he grabbed my mouth and called me a bitch because he needed some drug money to fix his head. He was itching for a high he wanted just for a moment, yet stripping me of my dignity, trying hard not to vent. I needed to let out some frustration that I was holding inside, but y'all, I couldn't. He was moving back and forth in between my thighs. My boy sat watching with tears in his eyes. All I could say was, Lord, I know you are on my side. Oh, when old boy was done, he decided to have a little fun. He tried to force us into my big old trunk. Thank heaven for me stashing my Goodwill junk. Now when he put the gun up to my head and told me to drive on, then he watched as I tried to pick up of my cell phone. He was upset with me by then. I prayed and prayed and asked the Lord when should I try to get my gun before this Negro tries to run? Should I drive off or take his life? God said, peace, my child. His life is filled with misery and strife. The lesson I learned from experiencing rape, it all begins with the enemy's first tool, this thing called hate. If you ever hear the sound of a painful cry, just think of my experience and ask God why.
Well, I pray that something was said to help stop the silence on rape and molestation. And if a child or someone comes to you and they tell you that this happened to them, don't doubt what they're saying. Don't doubt the experience. Help them investigate and heal in that area. Many times we do this to a lot of people, whether it's male or females. Many times we don't understand why people are in the lifestyles that they're in. Maybe it deals with situations like this, because when this happened to me and I was going through what I was going through already, as far as it related to abuse, as it related to what I saw growing up, as it related to my trust in men, it took me to a whole nother level of not trusting any man at all, period. And after I went through that experience, this is how that door was open in a way for me to be so mad and so disgusted. And so when the experience of homosexuality came into my life in a similar fashion, it stuck with me, because I was already bitter and I was already angry and I was already mad because of so many other situations. So sometimes we need to look at the root of the matter when we're dealing with people, so we can help them go back to where it all began. Where's the root of everything? I don't blame this on why I stayed in the lifestyle for so long. I'm not saying everybody that's in the lifestyle, this is the reason why they're there, but I can only share my testimony and about how I ended up in the situations that I ended up in, the consequences that I had to deal with. So I pray that this helped somebody, and I pray that if you are silent and you are experiencing this in your household, or you're experiencing this in your family, that you bring it to the surface and acknowledge it, that it has happened, so your healing process can begin. I'm at so much peace and so much joy in my life now that's why I share, because I want somebody else to be free by hearing how God changed me and how God sustained me, and he kept me in so many different situations. Some were self-afflicted, some were not. And so with the situations that I had no control over, I had no control over this man raping people, none at all. I didn't ask him, I didn't invite him into my personal space. My proximity was for me and my kids in my car, and I was on my way home and trying to go in the house, and here it is, he followed me, and there was nobody there to protect me. So I felt like God had left me and everybody else had left me, and why did this have to happen to me of all people? But to God be the glory that healing has taken place, and that it happened, but it's a part of my past, and it didn't define who I am now. It made me the strong woman of God that I am now. So I hope it blesses you, and I apologize for it being so long, but God bless you and keep you.